A warm welcome to Seppo's Gamification Sauna. Nice to see you joining us today in this cold November afternoon. My name is Salli Pirneskoski and I am Seppo's Customer Success Manager. We also have our very own gamification wizard, Santeri Jaakkola online.
Hello.
In this webinar series, we discuss different gamification business case each quarter. For anyone wondering why we want to be sitting in sauna is that traditionally the sauna has been the place where you can talk freely and even a regular worker and the boss can be equal. So we think the setup suits today's theme, DEI, very well. Soon we'll be joined by human rights trainer and DEI expert Dakota Robin. But before we get to the topic itself, a few practical things. This live session is being recorded and everyone who registered will receive the recording afterwards. We have sent all registered participants a short demo game. You can also find the game's pin code here in the chat and you can log in and try it out with your phone. Please join with the nickname unless you want your name to be presented on the screen. If you have any questions or comments during the discussion, please post them in the Q&A that you can find by clicking the three shapes below right, and we'll go through everything in the end.
All right. I mean, it's always warm in sauna. Salli, where's your towel? Where's your drinks?
I know, it's getting too hot, but not going to take my clothes off at this point.
Yeah, please, let's keep it family friendly. Why we are here today, diversity, equity, inclusion, in general, are hot topics all over the world. I mean, they are talked about everywhere. You can see it every day when you open a newspaper, watch any series, or if you are looking at news from the television, everywhere is talk about DE&I. One of the reasons, obviously, is that increased transparency in everything, but also gaining the knowledge on these topics has given the chance, but also forced everyone to work towards more inclusive workplaces. And I guess the motivation then depends on every individual. That are you more willing to do it or not? But I think the clear message is that everyone should be working for the more inclusive future. But Salli, how do you see DEI happening in workplaces from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I've been to many different workplaces, and I have to say that usually it's pretty clear from the very beginning, like how you are expected to work within that organization, what are the kind of cultural norms in there, and the ways that you are expected to behave, and so on. But when I joined Seppo, I'm still quite a new employee here. I think that from the very start, it was nice to feel that you can be whatever you are. Like that was very directly somehow presented to me that okay, doesn't matter how you are, it's just what you do, and totally everything is okay. But so Santeri, we're talking about DEI and we even have Dakota Robin joining us soon. But why is that we are actually talking about this?
I think when clients approach Seppo, they usually ask, do we have content on this topic or that topic? Do we have prior clients done games on their ideas? And one of the things we have noticed in the last 12, maybe 18 months is the increase of questions regarding all over the ESG topics, environmental, social, and governance. And one of these was really something that people were asking a lot, these diversity, inclusion, equity things. And while we always love to work with our clients and create them individual, unique games, we were thinking that this is something really general as a topic, and there are multiple levels of understanding from company to company and even from schools and basically everywhere with anyone. So we could do something here for everyone with something that is easy to pick up from the shelf. Obviously, we are at Seppo good game creators, but we are not substance masters. And that's why we also wanted someone who actually knows and lives and breathes the DEI topics. And that's why we asked Dakota Robin with us to do it. So I think that's the reason why we are here today.
Cool. So, how do you feel? How was it for you working with Dakota and the game? Did you learn something new?
Well, it was a blast. I mean, you will all see and hear soon Dakota, but he's a really funny guy, and I loved working with him. I have to admit, at start, it was a bit intimidating because the topics are difficult and it's easy to make mistakes. And if you don't want to do those, you start to be a bit wary of what you want to say and how do you want to say these things. I have been all my life in a lot of inclusive workplaces and worked with different kind of people. So I have been used to that side of life, that not everyone is from the same mold. Um, but still, when you are talking with an expert, you always start to question yourself. But after the project ended, I felt that I actually learned a lot from Dakota, and also like some specific details how things should be working, but also to mind how I view the things. So if I'm scary about topics, how I should approach. Is it about learning the things, or is it something that I should change in my behavior or even my attitude about, for example, being scared about them, or should I be trying out? So I learned quite a lot.
Nice. So now that we already started talking about the game, how do you see the topics in games and gamification overall?
Well, I think in games general, it's a hot topic for sure. Gamers in video game culture are notoriously known that not being too inclusive, and all the video game pictures and the whole themes of overly sexualized female bodies and that sort of things. It's not the best place, but I think there has been a lot of improvement in the last years. If we think about just like role-playing games where you can create your characters, it's not anymore just to pick a female or a man. You can generate your own character and do whatever you want with it. And if you have a male character, you are not always limited to just have options to have a romantic relationship with a computer controlled character that is a female, but you can say the same things for everyone. So I think we are going there, but there's a lot of work to do. With gamification, I think it's lots about giving options and possibilities. If we think about learning in general, it has for centuries been quite text-based. So when you are learning something, you are reading the things. When you are showing what you have learned, it's usually by typing a text. And not everybody is comfortable with that. Not everybody can show their best performance when they are writing a text. So when we are enabling people to answer with audio clips, videos, pictures, and use their own creativity, they can really show the best versions of themselves and what they have learned. So it's not just limited to one way of showing what you can do. So I think in that, gamification has a lot of opportunities to enable different kind of people to answer.
That's very interesting. But as I mentioned earlier, we also have today's guest with us. Welcome, human rights trainer and DEI expert, Dakota Robin.
Thank you. Wait, do you see me now? Yeah.
Yay!
Oh.
Nice to see you with us.
Yeah, I know. Sandra said like take the towel. It's so funny because like the biggest misconception is when I go training companies or when I arrive any states or places in company, they always assume me that somebody hire a rapper, not human rights consultant. And I said no, when I have the towel, that makes me even more rapper. So it's perfect.
Cool.
Nice. Sally already told everyone your titles, human rights and expert and consultant. But could you tell for our listeners, because it's not just people in Finland who are quite know who you are, but also people from abroad. Who is Dakota? Why are you in the DE&I game?
Well, my name is Dakota Robin, and I have been working in the public sector, but also mostly in private sector, but also in the public sector all around the world now, almost 10 years. Reason why I kind of started this field or what I would say now when we are talking about game was because of my own diverse background. So my background is that my dad is Kurdish. He's coming from Turkey. He's minority group in Turkey. And then my mom is from Finland. I was born in Switzerland. And then I immigrated to Finland when I was 3 years old. And then I grew up in a small town in Finland that was, we know that the smaller the place it is, harder it is to belong, because if you are different from that culture, or like I always say, like if you are different, it's so funny that we have this, some people are different, some people are normal, because now I'm educated that what we think is normal, it's somehow anymore.
Okay, coming back.
I think, Dakota, your connection is a bit breaking up. Your face, at least on my screen, froze. Let's see if we can get Dakota back. I mean, Sally, can you check the temperature? Is the sauna getting too hot if it's interrupting with the Wi-Fi?
Probably that one, yeah. Too big a difference here in Finland.
Yeah, while we are waiting for Dakota to get the connection fixed, I think that is what was one of the biggest idea change also for myself, that when we usually like to categorize people, and we talk about they are the normal ones, and then we talk about different people who we have to think about, and it's not just that we have to think about different people, we have to think about everyone, because the differences are for everyone the same. In the game itself, we covered this, that we all have aspects that are making us different. We have a different background where we have grew up. We have different kind of education backgrounds. We have different ages and languages and skills we know. So we all have these unique traits that makes us who we are. So none of us are normal. We are all part of bigger picture. But yeah, now we have Dakota back.
Thank you. Good that you have learned already, so you can just back me up. All the rapper needs who is the warming the stage. So it's now you, Santeri. Sorry, my sauna have a little bad connection. Hopefully it's gonna work now. It's funny that I just came from webinar and 1 hour it never stopped, but now it stopped. But yeah, what I was talking was that we have built this image of that some people are normal and some people are not, and the person who we feel are normal is like just people who are normal in our culture, in our environment, or in our country. When we put that person in another country, now you are not anymore normal. So who is normal? Nobody.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that we also have built this image that people who are different, that being different is something like shameful, something that it's make the person less valuable, or less, like we see that it's less than us. And we feel like the people who are like most of looking like, acting like, are somehow better than the other person.
Yeah.
And that is when you put that person who is better in one country put in the other one, then why you're not anymore in the same position is because it's nothing to do with you. It's about the system that it have built to build these beliefs that some people are better or more valuable than others. And so that's something when we start to talk about these things, and I always start with that place, because I know that all of us have this feeling of like hiding the differences. We learn at such a young age that you need to fit in rather than belong. And what I mean with that is that belonging is human survival mode. So that we know that if we belong bigger group, we survive, we are safe. And then people who basically are acting different, we use this fitting in as a gatekeeper. Now in workplaces we can say like, yeah, everybody's welcome, but I always say like, but do everybody feel welcome in your company or your country? That, or we say in Finland like maassaman tavalla, in our country we do in our way, so you can come here but you have to do in our way. So it's like, but of course that person can't be seen and heard with their needs if they have to act like they are somebody else than they really are. So it's like not teaching since we are children that what other people think about you or other people's opinions about you or the communities or other people's needs or expectations are way more important for you to fulfill than you to learn who you really are and what you really need. But that is what we are building, this culture, like, like just fit in. So please other people expectation and what they want from you. So then we are molding ourselves and hiding ourselves. And like, I would say that that's something that we all suffer with. So that's why always when we talk about DEI, why it's really important, I always say, because you are here because it's affecting all of us, or why we do the strategies or playing this game and learning about these things, because it's building like a psychological safetyness for everybody, because you feel comfortable now, you feel more, you have more tools, more words, you have more understanding, so your nervous system is more calm when you are working with different kind of colleagues with different backgrounds. But it's not just that colleague who are coming from different country have easier, so you have to do the extra work because of these people, but no, you're doing it so it's easier for you, and you can be seen and heard, and you have psychology safetyness. So
this is actually a good segue for what we were thinking with Sally earlier. I mean, because there's one thing is what you are saying, and then the other, and what are your intentions, and what is then the feeling that the other person gets. And while me and Sally were preparing for this session, this sauna session, we were a bit worried. And I think I voiced this, told this also for you when we were doing the project, that we are worried that we might say something incorrect or hurtful without the intention of it. So is this a common thing when discussing the DEI topics, and maybe it's common or not? Any words for encouragement for me and Sally and the rest of us who are thinking the same thing?
I think that's like the most common thing that we all can relate. Like as a human nature, we really want to be good. We want to be liked by others, and we want to do good for others. Like I really don't. I always say that it's really rare that somebody's just born to be asshole. Let's say that way. Like don't just be like, I just want to go that work environment, be hated by everybody. No, we just really want to do our best, but we can do our best with the knowledge and skills we have, and because we in our culture we haven't been talking about this, that we all are different, and it's actually richness that we are not trying to find people who are like you. We are trying to find people who fulfill, because we all are we are good at something and we are not good at something else. So then there's people with different life stories, different experiences. They are better with some things that you are not. So you are actually, how you say, doubting that, like you complement each other. So that is like what we should try to think about, and when we are hiring and building communities, and that's how we have been driving as a human beings, that we have different strength in our communities. But then the thing is that because we haven't been talking about these things, it's for all of us, it's something scary, because everything that's unfamiliar for us, it's sign in our brain that it's possible that you can't trust, because our brain is trying to analyze all the knowledge that the life have brought us. And then when we haven't talked about these things, or when we have talked about that being different, it's less better than others, or it's less, or it's shameful or something, then that's the image how we treat about these topics. And then because that is really hurtful way of thinking of some people's identities, then there's coming also the cancel culture. So then there's a lot of emotions around these topics. And I will always say cancel culture is the worst thing that we have invented, because now that it actually polarizes people even more, because that keeps people and communities and companies from evolving and developing and getting better, because now many of us want to join conversation, want to join to learn and hear and discuss, but we are scared that we do something wrong, that we're going to be labeled, and that label was really hard to get away after that. So then I always say in my trainings that this is like a safer space for learning, because doing mistakes is really important part of learning. Like when you do mistakes, and you are in a safe environment that somebody is not pushing you down and shaming you, because people don't learn by shaming them or judging them. Brené Brown had told me this. We are friends. But like,
Yeah.
so no, we are not really. I hope so. Maybe someday. But yeah, so people are not actually changing when they feel judged or that somebody's shaming them. That is actually triggering us that we want to defend ourselves. So we are like, oh, I didn't mean anything. Oh, I didn't hurt you, or I didn't say anything wrong. But it's like, look, actually, what you said, like maybe that way you said it, like it's not that correct. So maybe you use this words. Like even with Sandra, when we worked, sometimes you said some word. For me, say like, how dare you say that, or being like, oh, shame on you. I was like, oh, actually, that way, like, or that sentence you should maybe say next time this way, so it's just going to be better for you and nobody's going to be hurt. So, and that's like just guiding. When people do mistakes, you also, the person who are more aware, that they don't push the other person down, but they help the other person to come aware too. And how can I know what the other person needs to know or understand if they don't show it with their mistakes, that, oh, there is this still place to grow or learn, or I can help this other person. So I always say, like, if you see somebody's doing something and then you're more aware of it, like just be like, oh, now that person show their, kind of the side that I can help them with. But before then doing the mistake, I would not be aware that they would need help in that area. But yeah, so don't be scared of like doing mistakes. I would say, like, people, we will do always our best, and still when we do our best, we do always mistakes, and that's just life.
Yeah, I think it's a general attitude that are you ready to grow as a person? Are you ready to receive the feedback? And that's the only way how we grow. We need to do mistakes, because those are the moments where we can learn, do something differently, something in a better way. And I think that's the way. That also ties it with gamification, because in gamification we love to have the feedback and the opportunity to fail in a safe environment. So, but before we go to the game, because we want to talk about the Discovering DEI game as well, just a final question on this topic. How do you see DE&I at the moment in the world and also in Finland? Like, if this was a race where finish line is the harmonious, inclusive world where everybody can feel safe and everything is nice, where we are at the moment, are we already close at the finish line? Are we still taking our first steps? Where are we at the race?
Well, in Finland, we are in the starting steps. In Finland, we are just getting comfortable and more brave to talk about these topics. So, like, that's something that it's different. Like, I have been living in 5 different countries, so it's like, if comparing to London or big offices, I always say that it's stupid when we compare it. Oh, every time somebody's asking, so how is in the world and how are we? I was like, well, you don't want to compare yourself like just like, or some race driver who have been, done it, like built to do, like born to do that, and then you just end up racing with them. Of course, you are not in the same, because the thing is, like, if you grew up in like Finland, we have 5 million people, and we don't have so many, like in our childhood there wasn't not so much immigrant people either, and all these things. And obviously diversity is not just that, but like we haven't been exposed so much from people even like looking different, acting different. And then we have been raised like, if you're different, small towns, I had so many people who are coming from small towns, like being different was like really scary, because you could be end up really troubles. Yeah. If you're different, so you really needed to dress like others, act like others, be like others. So then our whole country is kind of like a small village in one way. Because when I was living in Helsinki, I was like, when I went to London, I was like, I'm coming from the big city, and then they were laughing at like, really? And then I realized, like, yeah, okay, Helsinki and London is way different. Yeah. They grew up in really this like a mix of cultures. So obviously it's easier for them but it's more, people are more willing to take those steps and start to work on these things, because even the problems comes in the surface quicker than in Finland. So that's why we are really in the starting point. But I also would say that, like, at least from my experience, like the past 3 years, we have been started taking really quick steps. So we are taking the steps like bigger. There's no slow start because we started so late. But now, like, if I think about, like, even this November, I am having like 22 different workshops with,
Wow.
So it's a really busy time. But like, if I would say 5 years ago, I was knocking the doors and windows and people like, oh, what is DEI? Oh, we don't need that. We are like, we work with like marketing or something. I was like, yeah, it's not about what you work with. It's like you work with human beings. So if you have workers, this is every field's, future. So, but now people understand it and they're like, oh, we need this thing. So we are taking big steps.
Yeah. And I mean, as long as we keep on taking those steps, we are also getting further and further on the DEI game. But now, if we talk about the game, actually, the game is meant for a single person to play, roughly, I would say 15 to 20 minutes to play. We can have in the chat soon some links for our website where there's some more information about the game, and also the trailer video. If you could, the Sauna Master, maybe link those to the chat. But in the game, we have there was 11 or 12 exercises, and we had them covered in 5 topics. The topics were diversity, equity, inclusion, unconscious bias, and privilege. We were brainstorming at the start at how should we approach the theme in general. Why did we end up with these 5 themes?
I would say because at the same time they are the most important topics, but also they are the starting points. It's weird that it's most important, but the starting points, because, okay, people have to understand what is diversity, because we have this, like I said, we have this belief that, oh, why I need to do this work or go this workshop or learn about this, so those few others who are different from us have easier in this community. It's like, no, you are part of diversity, and that's why you are there. So then the people would understand it. And that is actually what is like, I'm not sure, is it sad or funny, but like people need to understand that you benefit from this thing, that they are like, okay, I'm in. So that people understand what diversity really mean, what equity really mean, what is inclusion. And we can go start a training company and assume that, oh, people already know what these things are, because media have been talking about this really, like there's a lot of misconceptions around it. So if we assume that people already know this and taking the further steps before actually building that solid crown, then we are building something for misconceptions that is never going to be, we are never going to end in the result we wanted. So we have to not assume people know it, but actually explain it the right way. That's why the diversity, equity, inclusion. Then privileges, because we have been talking about also privileges as something like, if you are privileged as a human being, that's something like you should be shameful, or it's something that you are somehow taking from everybody else. But that is also holding us back. The same thing that is the cancel culture, because like being privileged was never your choice. Being privileged is that you were born to the environment that is built to you to succeed, or built to see your needs more than others, and that is not your fault. That is the fault of the culture and the structure that is built in the culture or in the country. So when we are starting to talk about privileges that way, that people are not feeling shameful about it, then people are more willing to recognize the privileges in themselves and taking responsibility. Like, oh, okay, actually, like I am pretty privileged, and I want to actually, what can I do with it? I want to help with the person who is less privileged around me. And also understanding that you can be privileged and also at the same time not privileged in some other areas in your lives. So that is something that we have to recognize. So because the structures are affecting how inclusive we can be and how we need to build the equity and inclusion. That's why privileges and then unconscious biases, that is the reason why we all discriminate. That is the main reason why we do mistakes, the main reason why we are even talking about this diversity, equity, inclusion, because human beings are not made to be happy people, or our brains are not made to keep us happy or good parents or a nice colleague. Our brain main basically job is survival. And now when we understand how our brain works and why actually we are discriminating others, is to talk about where the unconscious biases comes from. They're coming from the brain trying to keep us safe and trying to analyze our environment, that everything that is unfamiliar for us, our brain is analyzing the environment quicker than we are. Like if we talk about äkkijarrutus, like you have to really, you are in the traffic. What is the
I can tell me, well, like a quick stop or like
in a traffic quick stop. The police have even studied that when we do the quick stop in the traffic, we never do it that we are not really aware of when we are doing it. So it coming also in unconsciously, our brain works unconsciously reading about our environment and works quicker than we are aware of. And same thing when we understand that our heart and our stomach and all our in sections are working, our brain is giving them the basically the saying what our body needs, but you never think in your mind like, oh, now I need cortisol, now I need this. So the braking in the traffic also the same. We realize what have happened, like when the car had crashed or when it stopped just before it crashing, and we are like, oh my god, what was almost happening? But how our leg was already you move to the brake and start to brake, that is unconsciously doing it. So now that say that the brain is reading the same way our environment and everything that is unfamiliar for us. So if there's people who we haven't been exposed to some culture and it's something unfamiliar for us, our brain is reading, oh, this is something unfamiliar. I don't have enough knowledge to understand this, so it can be potential threat for you to survival. So it's safer to you to fight or fly. So it's like flee. So it's first thing, the most common thing that we are discriminating is not that we are attacking anybody. It's actually that we are avoiding without noticing. We are like, oh, we hired this person because somehow it felt the right fit. It's like, your brain is saying, oh, I trust this person more because I have worked with this kind of person before, or it's familiar for me. I recognize myself in the person, or it's like familiar. It looks like my dad or my family or my friends or whatever it is. So our brain is picking that one. So when we are learning this, we can understand and we can stop building this like really homogenic communities and always hiring the similar one who was like, oh, we only hired the right person. It's like, no, you're hiring, if you're not aware of, you're hiring always the same kind of fit, because that is saying to your brain it's like the right fit, but it's not.
Yeah. So now, if you play this game, what is the effect that the players get? Are they now, after playing the game 15-20 minutes, are they now perfectly doing these things? Are they now perfectly wired in their brains to do things better, in a better way? Probably not completely done in 15-20 minutes, but if we talk about in corporate language, what's the value proposition for the person who is playing this game?
I think it's like at the same time, it is causing a change. Every single small knowledge we are getting that our brain is picking, it is making us to react a little bit different. Or the thing is like, we are not maybe changing really quick our reaction, but it is changing a little bit the way we think about it. We are maybe not can straight away start to act differently, but they start in a different way of thinking. Not like our brain is wired that we don't have unconscious biases, because as long we are human beings, I always say in my workshops that I catch myself constantly of unconscious biases, because that is how our brain works. But the thing is that we are aware of what's happening. When we are doing something or when we have the image, we can start to question like, oh yeah, now I learned that my brain is working this way. So what is the thought behind this image of or this pick or this belief. So I would say that this game is actually really inspiring, that it's not like, when we are starting to talk about these topics that it's really scary for many people, we need to start it with inspiring way that people are starting to be curious about themselves. Like, oh, my brain works this way. Oh, actually, I have this kind of system works this way, or this privileges. And not like that there's really heavy stuff a lot, because when it start coming again, a lot of stuff that we are not, a lot of new stuff, and it's scary stuff. For us, that is the same. Our brain is fight or flight. So basically, we are like, oh, this is too hard, too heavy. I don't understand. So I'm not interested about DEI. But this game is like, with gaming, it's like inspiring, nice way. And you actually get a lot of knowledge in such a short times. Time, I know that you think a little bit different when you meet people and when you're around with other people.
If we think about the people who should be playing this, is there a certain difficulty level in the game that someone shouldn't be picking it up, or is there something for everyone? How would you view it? Because you have been training like probably thousands of people. I don't know, it's even in 5 digits. Even in this last month, you have been thousands. So what do you think, like the skill level? What should you know before you start the game? Is it for the beginners? How would you describe it?
You don't really need to know anything. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to. This is for, I think, but at the same time, it's not that. I wouldn't. If you are a person who think that you already know a lot of these topics, or you already have heard about these topics, I still believe that you can learn from this a lot too, because these are really broad topics. And I even said, like, going for one workshop with one consultant, it's not enough. You need to hear other people's also, because we can come this angles many different ways, and we can hear many different kind of stories. So I would say this is for the beginners, really easy start. You don't need to know anything. Like I said, we start from like explaining what diversity really means and what is equity and all of these things. And then same time, if you are already exposed to more of these topics, I would say, like, you should still also benefit from this, because like being open from learning, because this also, maybe you were doing some workshop 2 years ago, 3 years ago, things are changing. And when we talk about the finish line, there's never going to come finish line with these topics, because also there's coming younger generation, the culture are changing, and the way we talk about things are changing. So things that I was also educating, 7 years ago have changed already a bit now. So that's why I would say that this is for everybody, really.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think. We also aimed at the start, that we want to do something that's doesn't require basic knowledge, and also because this topic has a different kind of opinions in people. I mean, we can see all over the world how people are reacting, how different political movements are in the rise, and we want to have something that works for everyone. So it's not just about some groups of people, but it's about everyone. As you mentioned earlier, diversity is not the people somewhere there. It's all of us. So that's what we also started to go forward for. We also have in our saunas always this last segment. Full disclosure for everyone listening here, we usually send the normal questions for the guest before, but this is this kind of a quick sauna, or throwing a lot of water to the stove portion, where we ask simple questions. Well, they are not probably simple, they might be tricky ones, but you only get to choose one or the other. Are you ready?
Can I say one thing before we start the game? I also saying that why everybody should play this game, because this is not just something that you benefit from work environment. This is something that you benefit with every single human being connections. Like in my workshops, many times people are like giving feedback, like, I know that this was giving so much tools for me to, in my work environment, but actually it gave me tools to be a parent, or it gave me tools to, be a partner. It gave me tools to be a friend. It's these things are helping to us all get along and understand each other and be better at hearing and seeing each other's, and that is helping, all about our well-being. So this is not just something that, if you don't have so diverse work group that you don't need it. This is actually something that it's benefiting many levels in your life.
Yeah, definitely. Depending now, everyone, while we are starting the quick saunas, taking up the temperature even higher, if you have any questions, now is a good time to ask them in the Q&A section of the Google Meets platform. But Dakota, are you ready if I throw some water more to the stove?
Yeah.
All right. So the concept is we are asking 2 questions from different themes. There are sauna theme, gaming theme, learning, and DEI. And you always get 2 options. So you choose which one you feel better or which one you prefer more, or even if it's a tricky one, try to come up with one or the other.
Okay.
So for the sauna, 90 Celsius burning hot or 60 Celsius slow and relaxed?
60.
Cooling after the sauna, are you going to be dipping to the hole in the ice or rolling in the snow?
Hole in the ice.
Oh, nice one. I also like that one. I think someone in the Seppo team also does it quite often. Gaming related. We were actually supposed to be talking about video games earlier, but we skipped those to give the DEI more room here. But now, video games or board games?
Board games.
Gaming is with an immersive story or tactical gaming?
Tactical gaming.
Oh, nice. That's also myself. Am
I getting more points if you like it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So learn to please the community. I belong.
Well done.
Oh, this is now giving a completely wrong message here.
Yeah, it's good that you are somebody there with the white guy in the corner, like, good answer. Sorry, it was a joke. Sorry.
No, I'm also now sensing the heat with the sound.
Yeah, I know. I see your face.
With learning, reading text or listening audio?
This is bad. This is hard because actually, when I started, why I started even this whole career was my diverse background. But I only mentioned my ethnic background, but I didn't mention that I have also dyslexia. I have other neurological challenges, which is also bringing my richness as a trainer, and then also I'm transgender male, so I have my gender identity. So with this, reading or listening, I would say still reading, because I have both I have to really focus on, but then reading I know that I quicker pick those things than listening, and it's weird because I have diagnosed with dyslexia, but then I have other neurological challenges that I haven't so much diagnosed, but I realized that I can listen to the same song and never learn the lyrics. And it is really weird. But some really the songs that you hear since your childhood, but that's why I have learned that, because I have been needed to learn how I learn, because I learn different than others. Then still both are hard, but reading is better for me.
But this is also a good message for everyone who is designing Seppo games, that when you are thinking about how you are delivering the message in the game, both can be challenging, both can be good. So it's more about the richness of the whole the game and the content that you have both of these there for different kind of people. Well, not I'm already saying different kind of people, but more rich variety of people. Let's keep on with raising the temperature in the sauna. You can see already my red coming when I'm stumbling with the words.
I'm just chilling.
Learning, should it be happening face to face or virtual?
I would say both works. It's hard. I prefer face to face. That is just something I like. I like since people close to me. But obviously, I understand some people feel intimidated by that. That's why it's why we say we all are different. So it's not the different people. So it's not what is good answer. But for me, I like face to face.
Yeah, I mean, this is all about your personal opinions, what you feel. But yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I also feel face to face. But now again, my privileged white man is saying this is the right answer.
Nobody want to hear your opinion. Oh, but that's what I'm saying with this like privilege is that we can't build this image that some people are not right to be seen and heard because then it's not their fault, and then they are not willing to also see and picking up that responsibility. Like, oh, actually, I don't have to be ashamed of it. Actually, this is something good. I can help my community with this.
Yeah. Two more questions about the DEI topic before we take the questions from the audience. I know we are already running close to the ending time, but let's keep it snappy. DEI change in the company happens from leadership to grassroots, or grassroots to leadership. So top to bottom or bottom to top?
Top to bottom.
All right. And the final one, responsibility with creating inclusive culture relies more on individuals or collective actions. This is like chicken and the egg question.
Yeah. Well, obviously the community makes the change, but like it starts from the starting point. Like in even every community, there's individuals that have to be open for this. So I would say individual.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we were thinking with Sally that is this a too difficult question to answer? But you had a really good argument there, so I'm really happy that we had one or the other in that place. We have a few questions. Did you have a chance to look at them, Sally, beforehand?
Yes, I think we have time for one, so let's take this. Would you say that the game is suitable for further educational institutions?
Yeah, I would say that.
that
was a short one. Or do I have the argument?
No, I mean, I could say that the DEI game is made in Finnish, in English for companies, but we also have one version that is made for primary school or secondary school, and I think both of those work for also higher education. But I think the corporate business version, I think, is more suitable for adults. So what do you think?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But I was thinking that everybody was aware that we have those different games in this. So obviously, for the adults, it's more like a language, but like even that is easy to understand. Many times we also have these misconceptions or unconscious biases that what age people are ready to understand things. And like kids are really like, I would say that if you would be more open to this thing, kids can teach so much us about the world, really, and the real world that the future world we want to go, but we always think like, oh, we know better, but we don't really know. But obviously we have been building the game to be more suitable for younger generations and then the corporate environment. So it's different in the school and corporate, but still there is the same. We need to build trust and get along and build somehow how we can do our best as a community, because in workplace we are driving in one goal, and in the school it's same, that we are still, even there is not like the same goal, but like we need to get along and we need to understand each other's and build the environment that everybody feels good in it. So
yeah.
That was a very nice conclusion. I think we are a bit over time already, but I added my email in the Q&A. Any further questions you can send to me, salli.pirneskoski@seppo.io. I will also be sending the recording for all registered people and some further information if you have any open things in your mind. But very much big thank you to Dakota. It was lovely having you here. Always pleasure to listen to you. I could just keep on listening to you talking like hours, so maybe we can book our own session for later. But thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And remember having compassion for yourself and others, because like I said, it's not that we are doing most of the like discriminating things or situations are not happening from wanting to do anything. It's just when we do our best, but we can do our best only with the knowledge we have. And if we keep ourselves open for learning more, then we can be better in the future.
Nice.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Nice ending. All right. But next year we will continue with Sauna webinars and the next guest will be published soon. So stay tuned and follow also our social media channels.
Thank
And
you.
I got those social media channels.
Yeah, Dakota Robin. I'm not
Yes.
still not rapper.
All right.
Next time.
Yeah, maybe. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.